Hey there, YouTube. It's Mr. Anonymity Trade coming to you with the trade confirmation with Evan Loper from the beautiful, almost state of Guam. And as you can see, he was trading with Mr. A Trade, which makes my channel sound a little bit more dubious than I think is necessary, but I'll forgive him this time. He sent out in what looks like it's not quite a bubble mailer, but it's the same kind of like double walled paper, and he sent inside of this 2 sheets of cardboard taped together with Scotch tape, my immortal enemy, and it was for a fairly sizable trade of promos for my Sarkon Dragon Speaker and Scuttling Doom Engine. So I've already shot this video part and parcel with how I usually do it. However, it was kind of dragging because there was some consideration of issues to be seen. I would still consider Evan a safe trader, definitely safe. Everything that was content to the trade was sent, but there are a few things that I'd like to look at just on a matter of condition. For trading into my collection. And I know I've made this an element of a video in the past, but I know that some of you might not be familiar with, as familiar with me, just due to my absence. So I'm going to take this time to go ahead and have a minor refresher. So we're going to run through from best condition to worst condition. And I'll point out, it was kind of another problem with the video, other than it going so long, was the fact that it was hard to see some of the defects on the card face because of the lighting. And so I brought this handy dandy Aesop's Fables to help us out. So here we go. Starting out with, these are all mint and near mint. So either perfect, like print freshness, or minor problems. So we have Dictate of Crufix, which I believe was, yeah, it's basically immaculate condition. Fantastic. Prognostic Sphinx, which I really do like the art on. I wasn't huge into the, Theros, but this has kind of a more classic Greek, like how they would sculpt the face or how they portray Greek men, is how Prognostic Sphinx looks on the promo art, which I think is really flavorful of them. I really appreciate that. This Indulgent Tormentor, near mint, it's a really, this camera is not gonna, you're not, even with the book, you wouldn't even be able to see it, but there's like a tiny line of foil right across the top, which means that this was scuffed somewhere, but it still looks great. Definitely near mint. Any place would buy it near mint. Tormented Hero. There's a infinitesimal neck at the top, barely perceptible. I had to squint because I was like, is it not? So I would even still call that mint, honestly. Arbiter of the Ideal. This one also is in fantastic shape. Doomwake Giant, there's very minor nicks. I mean, very minor. I mean, honestly, like, I don't even, so minor you wouldn't be able to see them on the camera. That's like upper near mint. Sin Collector, almost perfect, except for one piece of whiting right here. You can see it in my hair. Yeah. But still, very handsome card. Banisher Priests, perfect. Honestly, Banisher Priest is an interesting card because the art on the pack card is kind of more that fantastic, not fantastic as in, oh, fantastic, but fantastic as in, like, based in the realm of fantasy type illustration that you see in, like, older Magic, or at least reminiscent of that, not quite as campy. But this, the promo card is very, I don't know, very tied into their addiction to realism lately. Not that I mind either way, but I'm more into the. I'll show you the art I'm more into as we go on, because there's one card that I was incredibly excited about with this trade. We have a Pain Seer, and I believe, yes, this is in perfect shape. Night Howler, definitely better than the standard art for this. I believe there's a couple tick marks on the bottom left corner, but it's fine. Definitely within the realm of reason. There's one tiny tick on this card, and I guess I was more bothered by it than most, just because this was one of the cards I was most excited about. Goblin Diplomats. This is the art I like. It's so cool. Kind of more of a comic book type art, but these types of goblins, the like M5 or the M14 type goblins, and the Mirrodin / Phyrexia goblins are the ones that I really like. So the ones with like the pronounced like proboscis type base features and the elongated ears, I think they're very interesting. Lorwyn goblins, I'm still kind of, they're fine, but those are the ones I prefer. I think they're really cool. That's how I like my goblins. And so this one is actually just it's near mint, but since it was the bulk of the value that I got out of the trade, it kind of this is something worth mentioning. When I ask if something is mint or near mint, if it's gonna be near mint, probably mention why. So it's a chief engineer, and honestly, I probably should have waited to trade for this, simply because it'll go down a little bit once it's not in standard. But whatever. The opportunity to get it, and especially for these extended arts, you got to trade for them when you can find them, just because they get hard to find. It has a rather pronounced. Wait, I forgot. Got my book. It has a rather pronounced nick right here. Yeah, you can see it in the corner. Overall, the face is alright. I mean, there's the standard little. There's like a little white blip that I actually didn't even notice until I did that, but that's fine. It's just the nick in the corner. It's just it's large, so that bears mentioning to me. These are kind of, they're in the no man's land between like very, 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 very slight play and being near mint. And one of them, it just doesn't bother me as much. Like if a better copy comes along, I'll probably trade for it. But I don't care about it. Is this Bile Blight? Even though the art is a lot cooler than the standard card. But as you can see, I probably shouldn't use that side because it's got the emblem on it. As you can see, though, there's quite a bit. There's like a neck here, some whiting running around the sides. Another kind of sizable neck right here. So, I mean, this looks like it might have seen some play, or maybe it's been moved in the binder a lot. Not a tragedy, all things considered, but still, I would be more flexible on the grade with that one. If I would have been aware of that, maybe not something I would have traded for, simply because Bile Blight is around still. This next card, though, I think I'm gonna err more on the near mint side of the spectrum, just because there are some noticeable issues with the back face, noticeable, for collection purposes. But the front face still looks really good, and it's an older card, so I'm kind of more lenient when it comes to that. But so it's the Mitotic Slime, and I believe that this is the extended art for M11, if I'm not mistaken. But it's a very cool card, kind of more cartoony actually. But so as you can see, the front face looks great, but the back face, there's some whiting, significant whiting in the corner, down the side here. Yeah, it's just I don't know. I'm really torn on the condition of this one just because, I mean, it's kind of significant, but like I said, it's a harder to come by card. So that's probably something I'm satisfied with unless I find a different copy, in which case, like I said, I'll probably trade for it. But it's one of those things where I'm not too broken up about it. I'm just glad to have it. And these two are the last part of the trade, and I'll probably be trading for replacements. I'll put these in the binder to hold their spots, but so we have a hive stirring, which just has front face whiting. I mean, I don't even have to point it out, but here, 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 a little bit down here, and on the back, in the corners and on the sides, mostly corresponding to what you saw on the front, although there's more whiting on the corner back here. And there's, I don't know if you can really tell, but there's a kind of a lot of dirt on the back, and some impressments, like little divots where it seems to have touched or been forced somewhere. So I'll probably get a different one of those. And but it's like a $2 card, so it's really not a big deal. But like I said, bears mentioning. And then there's Shipbreaker Kraken, and this one again, like, this is one I don't care about. I probably wouldn't have included it in the trade had I known, but it's a $1 card, so who cares? But it's good for our purposes here. So there's whiting. It's harder to see because it's a foil, but it basically runs the length of this edge, like from top to bottom. There you go. It's easier to see. I mean, it's rather pronounced. And then on the back, we have some ticking on the sides here. And some scuff damage. It looks like just little dots, basically, in this corner. And then you have some ticking across the top. But yeah, I mean, if it was any, like, just any cards from the set, from sets, you know, like chase rares I was trading for, or even elements for decks, I probably wouldn't mind as much. But I always do kind of make a point to make sure cards coming to my collection are of kind of a different level of quality. And you've probably noticed in my collection binders that I mark off cards that I've inspected further upon completing a trade and realize that they need to be replaced. And I try not to be too much of a stickler about it, just because I know not everyone is that concerned with card condition, because they're still workable and indeed tradable and sellable. But at the same time, you know, it's something I've mentioned in the past. It doesn't detract from this trade I've had now. Evan is still safe. I'll definitely confirm him as safe and send out my end of the trade. It's just something that I like to make a note of. So anyway, that being said, like I said, he was safe to trade with. Everything came in a very timely manner, all things considered. I mean, especially since geographically he's so far away. It was pretty impressive. And the amount of time where he said he sent versus when I received it. Everything was packaged really well. He was kind of easy to negotiate with. I mean, there were a couple of sticking points, but that's in any trade. And so I would definitely suggest you go check him out. I'll link to him in the description below. And as always, this has been Mr. Anonymity Trade, telling you to trade safe.